Hello everyone, my name is Paul McFadden. I'm the supervising sound editor on this show.
It's me, yes. Hi, I'm Julian Howarth. I'm the sound recordist on this show.
Hi, I'm Bryn and I'm a second boom operator on the show.
Brilliant.
Well, there you go, gang. The first scene, and I saw a swimming pool, and I went, oh no, I hate swimming pools, because I remember on Series 2 we did... on School Reunion, we had a scene in the swimming pool with Anthony Head. We had to ADR all that.
Oh, they sound awful.
Why do they pick scenes in swimming pools, Julian?
Well, we had... I don't know. They just love it. I don't know why. So it's the look of it. But I can always remember can't remember halfway through it. We were filming it halfway through it, and we started to hear a bubbling. And we're thinking, what's going on? What's going on? And then we do this scene, and it's very quiet, and they're setting off. And then we looked in the back, and there was one of the Sparks sat in a jacuzzi.
Relaxing.
He's in his trunks.
Which we shall not name, because he wants to work again. He's a friend of yours.
He is a friend of ours, yes.
Cool, OK.
As soon as they shouted action...
Here, we're off.
Here we go. Yeah, opening titles. Now, I thought this is possibly the hardest episode that I've ever worked on.
Yeah.
Because I remember we had a meeting, me and Julian and Alice... probably about 2 weeks before you started shooting, wasn't it? And thinking, how are we ever going to do this? Yeah,
well, they came to us and they said, we've got an episode that's just all about people overlapping dialogue and dialogue coming on top of it, which we'll see later. And it's just technically really complicated thing to do. Oh, yeah. No, the opening scene, that was... when I went through the spotting session with Alice, she wanted it quite busy, so you guys probably recorded just what's in vision, with the doctor and the hostess played by Reiki, just doing that. But we had to ADR quite a bit of background dialogue from everybody just to fill it out. It was like people try and give the intensity, that you're getting on a trip. And so obviously you recorded just as you see it, so we had dialogue from Professor Hobbs, played by David Troughton there, coming in and stuff like that, and Dee Dee Brasco and stuff like that, played by Esha Antoine. And they all came in and did some ADR for us, and they were all fantastic. And they were doing a lot of ad-libbing as well, They were great. They did a fair bit of ad-libbing when we filmed it as well, and they were great. So they were very patient with us. So it was quite a difficult and just a slow, laborious process. So, Bryn, when you were sort of having to boom swing all this, then it must have been a nightmare for you, everybody...
Well, yeah, there was no headroom whatsoever. It was built as size, if you know what I mean, and... Yeah, a lot of crouching into corners, a lot of kneeling. It wasn't the usual sort of booming over the top of head because there was no headroom whatsoever. Yeah. So a lot of hidden mics, a lot of radio miking. We had to bring in extra radio mics to individuals just for this.
We had everybody on them. Yeah. We had them hidden everywhere.
As you can see there's no headroom whatsoever.
No way to get the microphones in at all.
No, so it was definitely a challenge, man.
It's just like a box, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. We had to get rid of all the original sound for that because they do sound a bit setty,
Well, it's all made of plywood.
All plywood, yeah. So we had to sort of chop that out of the dialogue tracks.
It's awful.
It's beautifully recorded by you, Julian, and Bryn, fair play, but it's
non-usable.
Not what we wanted, So.
No, that's always the difficult bit. Is you're looking at a set and it's meant to be a spacecraft. Don't know what it's made of, but it all sounds like plywood.
Now, remember the driver, Joe, here. You did this as a wild track for us.
Yeah.
Which, a wild track, viewers, is when they do it wild, not recording the pictures. It's just purely a sound-only recording. So they did this sort of intercom dialogue as a wild track, and we just popped that in, and it all worked lovely.
And it all works lovely.
So that means we didn't have to get the actor in to redo it. Which is good. Which Phil Constant is very happy about. Yeah.
That's sort of a slight. Hold on a minute. This song was awful.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I think it's wonderful.
Do you like it?
I love it. I know
hate
it's Mr. Russell T Davies' favourite.
We better not say anything. No, it's fantastic.
It's wonderful, Russell.
We love the work. Thank you, Russell.
Because I remember we added all these sort of sound effects here, and we had to treat it, like the bin hitting and stuff like that, and I had to treat it so it sounded like it was like old sort of 35 mil and stuff.
God, that song, you can't like that, Paul.
Yeah, and we just wanted to get a sense of just pure chaos going on, It's like so many things going on there. We got the sound of the projector, and we were just like, well, the Doctor felt really just annoyed and peeved. And then the old Sonic comes out, which is...
How do they do the sonic screwdriver?
Well,
what is it?
It's the Peter Davison one, really, that we
Is
sample
it? How
into.
old is it?
We sample into it in keyboard, and then we sort of pitch bend it and stuff when he's doing various things, which is good old David uses it quite a lot. It's like his lightsaber. He does it. He uses it all the time. I can't believe it.
So did you have to change that original sample to modernise it at all, or was it...
Well, we just modulated a bit more, yeah, but, it's one of those things, you don't change the sounds of the TARDIS and things like that, because they're so, a signature of the show.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just don't mess about with stuff like that. Why fix anything that's, it's not broke? It's fantastic.
Precisely,
but we add all the handling noise in Foley.
Yeah.
So the handling is actually an old corkscrew. And we've actually worn 3 out at the moment, so we're on our 4th one. One a series, we go through it. So, yeah. So all these laughs there, when Biff, played by Daniel Ryan, is doing his gags and stuff like that, we added all the laughs afterwards.
You added all afterwards.
There's some sync ones in there, but we added a lot more as well because we wanted a bit more. So, yeah, it was very good.
And then it's this battling through to try and get half-decent sound.
Yeah, trying to get your boom in there is quite difficult.
Yeah.
And then you've got the added glass as well, which
glass
shows
and
a
the
bit of
lights that
reflection.
are down, so whenever you put the boom, you get shadows on the walls.
Oh, yeah, and the bit there with the hostess behind them there, we added a bit of ADR from Professor Hobbs and the hostess. Would you like a drink? Oh, just a bit of ice, please. Stuff like that. Just to give it, there's other people in the bus, and we wanted to give it a sense that it's busy and it's not just whoever's in vision is there.
Well, yeah, and you would hear that because it's just such a small space, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. There you go. There's more coming up here, like with Professor Hobbs.
At the back there.
Thank you very much from Dee Dee there. So
this was 2.5 weeks in that small room. That was it.
Well, we got to go the Celtic Manor as well, didn't we?
That was for the...
That was like
there
for
are other hotels available to stay at.
Oh, yeah,
obviously.
of course, yes.
But...
Can we mention them? No.
No.
Get a discount at all?
I got a mate, actually.
we did get an expedition out, but it was literally 2.5 weeks in that same set. Which is tough for everybody.
Oh, no, this was a tough one for me, really, and you guys, I wouldn't expect, because you had the sound of the projector on everything all the time.
Oh.
And we added the sorry and ADR from Dee Dee there, because obviously, he was David's feed line was over that anyway.
I swear you're making it sound like every line's ADR.
It is, actually, and what a wonderful job I am, and what do you do? I should have his wages, everyone.
I'm doing some great guide track here.
Yeah. But all this is good, and then I don't think we added much projector. We actually used a lot of
what you got,
the sync track, and we just looped it all the way through the scene, really, and it was lovely. And it just fitted. It was just right for the scene, so it worked very nicely. And obviously, on this scenes, you guys must have been really busy, with everybody overlapping and
well, it sort of starts because to record it, if you want to use it, as you know, you've got to get it without overlap, so you can actually slot it into the show and you can edit how you want and alter volumes or and mixes with it. And so we have to get our job really is to get it to you as cleanly as possible for then you to be able to mess around with it and make it sound better. The magician,
McFadden.
So what we do then, guys, is that Julian and Bryn record it on a hard disk recorder on like 8 tracks. So everybody's on their own individual radio mics, and wherever the guys can put a boom in.
Microphone, hidden anything.
Anyway, plant mics, wherever the guys, use the ingenuity to place them. Yeah. We just, we get all that, and I have to go through and chop out all the excess microphone noise, basically.
Yeah.
So when you hear Biff, you only use Biff's track, so...
Yeah.
And that's where I come in sometimes and I have to take people's out of vision...
Like, you just cover everything as much as you can.
Yeah,
do you know what?
over and over, yeah.
See our engine room 2 ticks? We've added an extra line in ADR there, which you probably saw on Confidential, which David abhors. He really hates ADR.
He don't like doing it.
He don't like doing it at all. He whinges a lot about it. But it's weird because he's really good at it. Now, ADR, everybody, is 2 names for it. It's either automatic dialogue replacements, but there's nothing automatic about it at all. We've got to do loads of work to get it to work. And then there's additional dialogue recording. Now, what we do is that once we get all the tracks from the guys,
from Philip Kloss, the picture editor, who's selected which take for sound and picture. I go through it, clean it all up, and bits that I can't, or we think we need some expositional things, I do an ADR list. And that means anything with wind machines, etc., or the diction is not very good or whatever, or any extra lines that Russell wants to write. I put it down in a list, and then I send it to Russell, and Russell gives it back to me. And then he says, oh, by the way, I want to add a line from David here, psychic paper or whatever,
Yeah.
And David's like, oh, why has he got to do that all the time? Oh, I'd never say that. And he doesn't half have a whinge about it.
So no, it does put a lot of pressure. He sort of sits there and goes, well, no, we're not going to have to do any of this, are we?
Oh,
and I've got 10 wind machines, a snow machine, a flamethrowers, and explosions in the background. I'm thinking, no, David, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I've got it all. Bryn's there.
Bryn's there. Bryn's taking
Bryn's
the stall.
there. Yeah, we always blame Bryn, everybody. It's Bryn's fault. So, we do all that sort of thing. And then we've obviously had all the sound effects and atmospheres, etc., which would be, the diamond blinking sound.
What's an atmosphere?
An atmosphere is like a general sort of sound that goes through the whole scene. It could be like, the engine of the ship. It could be the TARDIS sort of throbbing effect.
Yeah.
Etc.
We like the TARDIS throbbing effect.
Exactly.
It's
we
great.
like a good throb.
It's good.
Right, so, no, it's all good. And then we have spot effects, which are like the TARDIS door slams, the sonic screwdriver, any switches, etc. Car doors, the sort of the doors in the spaceship opening and closing to the cockpit, and of course the bangs.
And the bangs.
The bangs being quite important in this
bangs
episode.
Yeah.
There you go, and the beeps, etc., when they hit all the door buzzers and stuff like that,
And who does all the beeps? Who makes all those up?
Well, a lot of them are on library effects that are generally available.
Have already been made up? Or?
Yeah, been generally made up, but,
Did you modify them, do you, Paul, then?
We do modify quite a bit of them, pitch shift them down, and stuff like that, and reverse them and whatever you want to do with them. And that seems to work quite well. But, if, for instance, like Pompeii or something, where you get a pyrovile, it's like, it's a new thing. So they made up of so many layers of sound effects that you just, you have like, 30 or 40 sound effects just to get a monster coming out of the...
Brilliant.
But
Brilliant. What's your favourite monster sound effect?
Favourite monster sound effects? The werewolf.
The werewolf. Why?
I just really enjoyed doing it.
Did you?
I just growled into a microphone. And
It
took me 3 days to do that because I lost...
I've heard you growl. It's scary.
Yeah, yes.
And the most annoying
My kids won't go to bed now. The most annoying sound effect...
really gets
I was going to say Paul Jeffries, our sound effects editor.
Oh,
no, we love Paul.
give over.
We love Paul. Paul does a great job on the show. I mean, he's a genius.
Oh, we do. I don't think people... We've got a massive team that do sound, really.
Yeah.
Starts off with us.
Yeah,
And there's me, Bryn, and we've got a boom operator, Jeff, who's not with us at the moment. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff. Hi.
Hey.
Nice job. And
then it goes to you.
Our team, and there's me, Doug Sinclair as well, who helps us on the dialogues and ADR front. And then we've got Paul Jeffries does the sound effects. Kelly B. Reangel does the foley. The foley being, faithful viewers, is like all the real sound effects. For instance, the footsteps, which you could lay them up on sound effects. There are sound effects available for feet on alien spaceship.
Yeah, well,
I would imagine.
Have you listed those?
If you looked at them,
surely.
But trying to lay each individual footstep in via computer would take probably about 2 years.
Yeah. No, Foley's are brilliant. Yeah. They are so clever. Foley artists are really clever.
Yeah, we have 2 Foley artists called John Fool and Julian who come down and they come into a Foley booth, and our engineer Chris Thomas Kelly charts it out what he wants, what she wants, sort of thing. Like stethoscope noise against door and stuff like that. And Julie brings her stethoscope down, so isn't it a really authentic sound for that?
Oh, brilliant.
Against a mini metro car door that we have next door. We bash
just the car door?
Yes, exactly. Just a car door, clunk, because we want the metal sounds. But we got various tin drums and stuff like that.
What happened to the rest of the mini metro?
It got scrapped, I think. Scrapped.
Just get the door.
Yeah. But all these bangs are, a combination of banging on the car door, sound effects discs, which are like, axe hits into metal and stuff like that. And we just balance them and treat them, pitch shift them down, process them, add reverb to them so they sound outside and sound bigger.
Yeah.
And, see those door effects that when Dan bangs the door there.
Yeah.
Basically, the original sounded plywoody. So we chopped it out of the original track and just put replaced them with actually metal sounds.
Ah.
There you go again. So it's all very interesting. But because Doctor Who is such a big show, it's sold all the way around the world. So we have to replace every single sound that has dialogue on, basically, so they can revoice it into different languages.
Yeah, of course.
Do it again. Yeah.
So we'd have all, his sound of his cloth, the feet moving around, earrings, anything, watches tapping, their hands against door, picking up a telephone,
Because I spent my entire career trying to eliminate those noises.
You eliminate them and I add them.
I eliminated them, then you add them afterwards. What goes on there?
Hey, Jules, which one do you think is easiest?
Which one do you think is easiest? What, eliminating them or adding them? I don't know.
Well, yeah. I can't, I remember this scene with Leslie. It was like, this really scared me when I saw it in the spotting session.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
They were great. They were really
all the
great.
Smashes, and then we added all screams, etc. And all this is more or less, it's 100% of the original sync tracks, but we, the microphone's only in a certain place, and we want to add all the zaps with real effects. Because obviously we've got the little squibs that go off on set. We want to replace all those.
Yeah.
So it's all good though. And then we have the sound of people, leather creaks of the aircraft seats and stuff like that. So we had, the hands against the seat and the Doctor getting up, etc. is all done by our Foley artists. It's
How long does it take to do one Foley session for one show?
It takes a couple of days to go through and chart it.
So charting it means what? You write down what you've got to do?
Go through it frame by frame in the whole of the episode.
So you write down, you say, at this point, I want
10
footsteps.
Hours,
at this point, somebody scratches their ear.
Exactly. Torch switching on, click, click, etc., And then we might be very stylistic and artistic, and every time a light goes across screen, whatever, we might add a whoosh or something.
Ooh.
It's great. I think we've got the best job in the world, really, on the best show in the world.
It is fun.
Yeah. But this bit, look at the bent metal and stuff. When you see that, about a few seconds earlier in that thing, there's got to be sound effects of that really being as loud as we can.
Yeah.
And of course, your worst nightmare, though, guys, the curse of the wind machine.
It's actually a curse of a man called Danny Hargreaves who does all the special effects. Who's
wonderful
extremely
guy,
good.
Danny, wonderful guy,
extremely
Danny.
good, but he spends his entire career ruining all my sound with wind machines, explosions, gas vents, smoke machines. We love him to pieces. He's brilliant.
Danny, we love you, really, but
he's a nightmare.
Stop it. Please stop it.
He did try to help us once with the wind machines by having a big plastic sock to keep the wind machine outside.
So we have. Great. So, things with Foley will help is that we've got old fuse boxes and stuff in our Foley theatre that we can use and handle and rip out and stuff like that. So it's all good. But
now it gets tense.
Yeah.
I love this episode. I think it's brilliant. And it's really nice because it's one of the few episodes, because a lot of the time we work and there's lots of other considerations to look at, because you sort of think it's a lot of camera and there's lights and explosions and stunts. And this is sort of the one episode where we really get to sort of dominate in a way. Well, not dominate, but you know what I mean. You sort of it's all about sound and getting this and the voice and the.
Well, it's the Doctor's greatest weapon, isn't it? His voice, his mind. That's it's fantastic.
But we had a little bit more consideration than usual, didn't we?
Yeah, because normally it's like, we'll sort it out after. Let's get the visuals first.
Yeah.
And,
I've heard that too many times.
Yes. Faithful
oh, my goodness.
We try our best, honestly. Yes. So this is... this scene is really creepy because the best thing... I always try to find a point in any Doctor Who, which is quite difficult with good old Murray's music blasting all the way through it, but to have a bit of silence...
Silence is golden.
Silence is golden, and then we had a bit of a quiet patch, and then whap.
Builds.
Look at
then
his face.
This builds now.
The wonderful Leslie Sharp. Look at that face, fantastic. That really does my head. The way she looks there, and we added a little zing.
What was that zing? I like that zing. When I first heard that, I quite liked that.
Do you know what? I can't remember.
What do you mean?
I don't know. No, but it's such a long time. About 4 episodes have passed.
How long ago is it since we've done this? When did you? Because we filmed it. When did we film it? It's ages ago, isn't it?
We
I
did this
can't even remember.
It must have been about March time now, chaps.
Is it March?
Yeah, we started about March.
Good grief.
That is a long time ago.
And then they edit it, and then it comes to us.
This episode was the most difficult one I've ever worked on. I'm not just talking about Doctor Who, all the other everything I've done in my career.
Yeah,
this is the repeating thing that we were talking about with Alice.
Of course, yeah.
And I couldn't, imagine it when she was talking to it, because I just went, over to you, Julian. You're going to sort it.
Well, yeah. you sort of stood up and went, oh well, good luck. We'll try and sort out as much as we can afterwards.
Yeah. Don't worry, just get it done. But we had a good meeting with Alice, and she was very open to everything that we suggested. To try and. Well,
she was great. It was, like I say, it was one of the few occasions where you get to say the better. To sort of say. We really need to get this, and it's so important to the story.
Yeah. So all this repeating dialogue, which is quite good for us. But how did you do it on set? Was it?
Well, how did we do? Well, you're filming it from all different angles, so they're repeating it again and again. So a lot of times you sort of have different takes and different angles, and it's all repeated.
Yeah.
And then this bit here, what we're trying to do is they're starting to overlap now.
Yeah.
Where they're repeating over each other, and when you have different shots, and you see it more here now, isn't it? Where everybody's starting to panic and she's repeating everything.
Separately in singles?
Everything was separately in singles, so there was no overlapping at all. So Leslie was actually waiting for the line to finish and then repeating it and waiting it and repeating.
Yeah, because I remember that square root of pi when they overlapped. I actually cheated the close-up because obviously Leslie... it's like you do a rehearsal and she's projecting at a certain level. You think, that's cool. And then when they do it, the balance of the volumes between the two voices changes.
It's difficult, yeah, it is.
So David was slightly overpowering Leslie on that square root of pi dialogue. So
there's no way can you favour that, really, with a microphone, because you've got to use put a microphone in the middle of it.
So what we did was we used the singles that you shot.
In that two-shot.
And then did a thing called Chinesing, which is basically fitting the dialogue from another take into the lips of the wide shot.
So actually, the wide shot, you're not listening to.
No, that's not the real sound for that shot.
But we did get that one. We didn't have to ADR that one.
No. A lot. It did fit, and this is when they're in sync. Oh,
that's the point where you realise. Now, this was again the more difficult bit to do, because on all Leslie's shots, everybody repeated the same scene, but had to leave a gap for her to try and repeat it in the same intonation.
Oh, right.
And then we never got... Sometimes you're not getting the right speed of it, are you?
No, that's different, because...
And it took ages, because it was so laborious, just doing it slowly and slowly and slowly.
So how long did the scene take? Because obviously they must have done it all... it's only about... one scene was like 40 pages long.
One scene was 40 pages of dialogue, and you just have to cut it up into small bits, and then just work at it, and we I don't know, we're doing on... I don't know how many pages of dialogue do we do a day that we film? Probably on average about 4.
Yeah.
Oh, I can remember rehearsing this.
Yeah. So this, Now Then Sky, this is,
but the two of them
this
brilliant.
Is basically the two shots. I had to sort of cheat the close-ups again so I could adjust the sync on them, because... the bananas, roast beef and stuff, they was just slightly out. And the brief from Russell was, I want it absolutely perfectly in sync.
I can remember coming in to see you doing it and re-stretching and fitting it in. And
all this had to be changed with the takes that you guys have recorded clean for me.
Yeah.
Double doubles. I had double doubles on the original. So, faithful viewer, if you look very closely and rewind it about 5 or 6 times, you'll probably see it's slightly out of sync. Well, we won't mention that, will we?
Not.
Can we erase that bit from the podcast?
No, it's not.
No, right.
Did they have to re-edit anything because there was too
out of sync? Philip Kloss did a fantastic job of cutting it together, because it was like a jigsaw puzzle.
It's a difficult thing to cut together.
He did an amazing job, and when I looked at it, I went, wow, that gets me in the ballpark figure. Is it right in the ballpark? Obviously, I got the tools then to stretch and squash and squeeze each individual word and line. And I think the most I ever did in a day was 3 minutes of screen time.
Wow.
Doctor, make us stop. Every time we went off camera, I could adjust...
You could adjust it, yeah.
Just the off-camera dialogue, because obviously when it's in vision, I can't squash it and squeeze it, so...
And it was like filming every scene twice, because you have to get Leslie to repeat every scene that you film.
Does she mime anything? Because
when you've got the two shots and she's blurred in the background.
Yeah.
She was actually miming.
Ah.
And so she's not actually saying what she's saying. There was a couple of occasions where we pulled focus.
Yeah.
And we sort of tried to get them in sync on those, but whenever she wasn't in focus. Like in that shot there, David isn't speaking and only she's speaking in that shot.
Ah, right, so David's just mouthing the words.
Oh, well, sorry, Dee Dee is just mouthing the words when it's over her shoulder.
Now, I remember we had to ADR that Don't Look at Goblin Men line from Leslie because they sounded too similar in voice. Right. You couldn't tell. You could A-B between the two.
And you couldn't
tell it was Dee Dee or Lindsay.
I think Leslie got so good at repeating.
She got so good at repeating Leslie. She was doing everything. She sounded like everybody, you know.
Too good, yeah.
So like David Trout and everybody. It was great. So we had to do it, and we did it in ADR again, and we actually pitch shifted her voice. You know, told her to pitch it down a bit.
Just so you can tell the difference.
So you could tell who was actually saying. So it sounded like Sky and Dee Dee. You know, they were two separate pitches basically.
Yeah.
But it just sounded like it was a harmony. You know, it just sounded one complete voice. But it should be two separate voices. So that's another reason, Faithful View, for ADR to change performance. But every single word had to be chopped up and you know
and redone. It was a lot of work. It was great doing it.
Leslie had the most, of course. You know, what's in Vision is all the sync sound that you guys did.
Yeah.
But occasionally, because you wanted to get it so perfectly in sync, we had to chop and squeeze and stretch.
How many did Leslie have to come in for a few days to repeat a lot of it?
Yeah, she did about a day really, in total. But what we did was, I did a version because obviously not all of it had to be ADR, right?
Yeah.
But we had to. You know, I would say about 50% of the original dialogue had to be redone because the rhythm was different. Like that, yes, we can, you know. So it's quite difficult. But what we did, though, to make it easier for her, we actually chopped up the lines from everybody else she had to be in sync with and play it, and then she can repeat it like she did on set.
She tries to repeat it, well, as we did on set, the same thing.
But we could have multiple goes at it. She could have listened to it a couple of times. Because on set, you only got one go at it, didn't you?
No, she only got one go of it, and also you weren't sure that was the performance that she was going to have to repeat, because there's different performances between different takes.
Yeah, exactly. So it was quite painstaking, to be honest with you, and it was. But I think the overall finish at the end is very satisfying for everybody. You know.
It is, and really satisfying.
And then Murray's done a lovely score, of course, as he always does. Bless him.
Scare the bejeebies out of us.
Yeah, exactly. But you know what I like about it is that there's lots of gaps in it. You know, it's like the silence are there. I do it. There's a gap for about 4 seconds. It just everybody's on edge.
It's a punctuation of it. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But every single actor and actress that came in were fantastic. I mean, they must have been wonderful people to work with on set because it must have been very stressful for them.
Well, it was very stressful, and it's also the fact that you've got your entire cast on set for 2 weeks in such a small compressed room, and then what you see in here is just the cast that are there. But what you don't realise is there's actually 3 cameramen, 2 boom operators
trying to squeeze in there,
and trying to squeeze into this small set as well as they're doing it. And so the camaraderie that you develop was really great.
So where did you put the boom mics then and stuff like that? Because obviously a lot of the stuff I was using to edit was all boom mics. It was lovely,
so there's actually a boom operator getting most of this.
Where is he? That in like a 3-shot, whatever. Underneath by.
Sometimes
are you lying on the floor, Bryn, or something?
Where was your best hiding place?
Behind that coffee truck thing at the back of the cabin and squeezed down into.
He's always by the coffee truck.
I'm 6 foot.
He's actually 6'2".
And then I gotta get down on the deck and try and get a mic in that gap between the two. But it was very painful. Very going home not feeling too well.
Oh yeah.
It helps to be a contortionist.
Yes. Because it's all like the lighting guys need to get in there as well.
Well,
and light
there's
it
so much to consider. Yeah, they've got to light it, and all the lights are from above, and there's so much to consider.
And there's Colin Morgan who plays Jethro there.
Jethro.
Soon to be in Merlin, isn't he?
Merlin.
Yeah, he's playing the young Merlin in Merlin.
Young Merlin.
Yeah. He came in, did some bits and pieces for us, extras and stuff.
They were all nice guys, weren't they? They
were all great.
They all really got on, didn't they?
Yeah, well, we went for I can remember I first met, because I met all the cast that were doing a rehearsal day, and I popped in to sort of say hello and try and explain that how we were going to film it with all these breaks and with the repetition and trying to avoid overlaps and things like that. And they were all sat in a room and they were instant rapport. They were great actors, great cast.
Because I remember I was doing I think it must have been Pompeii or Last Planet of the Ood, I think, at the time. And Daniel was down shooting with you guys.
Yeah.
And he came down we had to do some ADR for him on Messiah. And
was he in Messiah?
Yeah, he was in Messiah, the last one. So he came in and I said, how are you doing, Daniel? He said, I'm working on the most difficult thing I've ever worked on. It's like doing a theatre play. He said, I've had to, and no one wants to mess up the lines, because they're doing it in like sort of 5 or 6, minute chunks, whatever.
It was big chunks.
Big chunks. And he said, the pressure's really on because, everybody's hitting it bang on, and no one wants to be the one to mess it up.
It got very competitive. Yeah. There was one scene where they did run it for about 5 or 6.
Poor old David, but he gets all the theory of pi and all that, all the...
Well, he's one of the most amazing actors. He has some of the lines that Russell T Davies writes and some of the dialogue that he writes for the Doctor is things that you wouldn't say in normal real life, and a lot of the sci-fi talk, and he goes for big speeches. And I've seen David come in and just rattle it off again and again and again, and he never, ever gets it wrong. No.
It was great seeing these two, Leslie and David, when they were practicing the overlap.
The overlap?
Yeah. It was brilliant.
Oh, when he's just taking over the Doctor's voice there, it's...
I remember when I first saw that, and when you see it cut together, and then all of a sudden you think, it's really, really spooky, quite dark.
It was the first time I've seen it cut together.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you think of it, Bryn?
What do you think of it, apart from having to listen to us two?
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
He's used to that.
If you think you can keep it down, you can have a listen.
Yeah, but no, it looks great, yeah. But, I'm very proud of the sound we've got for it. It's all working, isn't it?
It's great.
Now, remember a line we had to do for ADR here, because he didn't actually record it on set.
Didn't I?
No, no, it wasn't there. So it's your fault, Julian.
It is. Yeah. No, it is. God, which one was that? Which one was it?
Oh, I can't remember now.
Can't you? Oh, you're backing out. It wasn't.
Now, this is Mrs. Sylvester trying to understand. Well, they were really good at doing it, but it was slightly out on occasions.
Still out, yeah.
But what we had to do was, you did about 4 takes of this.
Yeah.
So I used the other 3 takes.
Because those ones, it's only it's only Sky that's speaking on this.
Yeah, exactly.
And the same as that one, so just other people are mouthing, so you get the singles that you can use to Chinese in.
We used to call it the Alas Smith and Jones shots.
Those are them.
Yeah.
Or form, or conscious.
How many times have you listened to this? You know.
Oh,
all
I
the
know
words.
it all. I know. Oh,
it's like singing along to your favourite album.
This took me 4 hours to do this little bit because I had to stretch every single little bit.
Oh, to get it back.
I remember coming in and look. I used to pop in and say, "How are you doing?" And he'd just go, "Oh," and he'd look round with a cup of tea. How you doing? Oh, I'm doing all right.
Oh.
What bit you on? I'm 2 minutes on from when you last saw me.
That was last week. Oh, David and Leslie's performance here. When the Doctor repeats her lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But I gotta say, it's a fantastic cast, and they were just. They were great. They were really great fun. They were all up for really going for it.
They were. They did. Well, they did go for it.
They were. They were all suggesting things in ADR as well. It said, "Oh, I remember what I said there." On the phone. In the backs, and they said, "Oh, let me try something there." And even though we hadn't marked it up for ADR. A lot of it was for additional bits, He said, why don't I try this and that?
So they remember the ad libs.
And then we said, yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll do what Russell said. Russell is God. Whatever he says, he put those words down, and it goes in.
He wrote it. Well,
he wrote this in like a weekend, wasn't it?
I think he did something like that, wasn't it?
Because I emailed him in my fury with him one evening.
How dare you?
Why, if you ever write an episode like Midnight Again, don't! Exclamation mark. No, seriously, it's going well. I haven't seen my wife and children for 2 months. But,
I'm living in the studio.
Yes, exactly. I have. I slept here a couple of nights just because it was just like, it was like 4 in the morning. And because you're just concentrating so much on getting it perfect, it's like, what's the time now? 4 o'clock. Oh, might as well go to sleep here.
Oh, mate.
Oh, hey. But it's okay, Russell. I only did that for 3 weeks.
Yeah. So when do you put in the overtime forms?
Yes, Mr. Collinson. Yes, Mr. Collinson. Where is my overtime?
Next series not going to be on, like.
Exactly.
Oh, this is the bit where I remember watching it again for the first time, seeing it's like the doctor's. It looks as though he's lost.
Yeah.
She's defeated him.
Yeah. I tried to get David to do some like shivery breaths on the cutaways, because obviously you've got the feed lines that you were recording, and of course they've cut them out, so a lot of the sync sound that was in Vision was gone. So I tried to get David to do some shivers and stuff like that, trying to keep his, trying to speak, Yeah. He said, I wouldn't do that. That sounds like West Country, not Scottish. But there you go. I can only growl. That's all I can do. But he said, I would. The doctor wouldn't do that. The doctor wouldn't say that. Wouldn't do that. It's like, okay. So in the end, we didn't use it, David. So there you go. You're glad to know that.
It's good for it. It's good for it.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit nasty now, doesn't it?
It's inside his head. Now, this must have been very difficult for you guys because obviously the overlaps got closer and closer, didn't they? But they weren't overlapping here, but obviously it got to a point where...
It got to... Towards the end, it gets chaotic.
Because I remember the guys shot a wild track of some of the really close overlap bit where David stepped on Leslie's lines because that's how Alice wanted it. So we had to redo it. And Payne, that's all ADR because everybody's talking over him. So there's a bit of wild track, bit of ADR in there. And David's so good at it, He's just such a a pro, really.
Have you ever tried to do it?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you to be able to sympathise with?
Oh yeah, I remember a scene in school reunion. Well, I could go on about school reunion, didn't I? But it's we did Anthony Head. When he was with the Krillitanes, he said originally, get the shooty dog thing.
Yeah.
But we ran out of money on the CGI. so to get out of it, we were supposed to say, forget the shooty dog thing. So what we did... But unfortunately, Russell had thought about that and told us that when actually we've recorded Anthony Head's ADR 2 weeks previously. And he was in America. So I was going, forget.
So you did it?
I am Anthony Head for that one.
Are you actually in?
For the word for...
You're in Doctor Who?
I am Doctor Who.
Oh, wow.
I shall be sending my invoice to Mr. Phil Conson, BBC Manchester. And it'll be going straight into his bin. There you go. Good old Phil. Probably the best producer I've ever worked with. I say probably.
You say probably?
Oh, he is definitely a legend. That's him. But, this episode is really a psychological masterpiece by Russell, I think. It's
great. It's very different to a lot of other Doctor Who's, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not so visual, is it?
I just love, when Lindsay Coulson, who plays Val, comes in and just says, you be you next and stuff like that. She's real venom.
She was vicious.
She was vicious. And we got her in to do some more because Russell said, because we only had a certain amount of it in there, what you shot. And we wanted to get more of it, Throw him out, get him, do it, that sort of stuff. And we got her in to do a whole, just do the scene a couple of times, just venting her anger and stuff. And Russell wrote some bits and pieces for it, specifics. And,
does Russell write those afterwards then to just keep it?
Yeah, well, we go through it, and, I go through my ADR list saying, incorporating my technical notes, i.e. the wind machine scenes, etc., and any additional things I suggest. Like background dialogue, etc. And then Russell will think, oh, okay, I'll write this, and he'll script it. I'll put, do you want anything specific from Val during throwing David out scene? And he'll go, yeah, here it is. And then about 10 pages of ADR will come back, I remember when we did the Sontaran stratagem, in the Poison Sky. We had loads. I mean, I had about 20 pages of unit dialogue, in the unit base in the van,
It's just, you've got to fill it out because you're telling the stories we're filming it.
And we did the Scream here when we listened to
Val's
Scream.
Wind machines.
All wind machines. And on the screen,
That's a great sound, that.
Yeah, I pitch shifted the voice, going from to a high scream as if the sort of alien force, whatever it is being drawn out of her.
Yeah, it's a really nice sound, that.
But what I like about this, just the breath is quiet. Oh, love that.
Silence is golden, I'll say it again.
And then the score comes in then, and it's just, you know... Because you want to be with the actors there, you know? It's just like, you know, the breaths, and you're with them.
Because we did actually film this in story order virtually, or tried to.
All right,
so therefore, you get a better performance, so the actors are not... Because usually we film things and we don't film in story order. Sometimes we can... First day of filming, we're filming the last scene. But this was as much as we could do it in story order. And so we got a progression and a natural progression to it.
How do they, you know, because obviously not being on the production side, I'm always in post-production.
Yeah.
Obviously I come out to set to record some lines and stuff occasionally, but...
You've never come out when I've been there?
No.
No, why not?
Oh, I don't know. It's always... I was
just
come
always
lunchtime.
been busy, yeah.
I should come lunchtime.
Sneak in the back door.
In and out, mate. Yeah.
You know, but how do they sort of prepare themselves for that? Do they run on the... I know when David does his ADR,
he runs about...
He runs on the spot for about 10
the same.
minutes,
Yes, he does, yeah. To sound breathless.
Yeah. So he does that before each take, or...?
When you get sort of that sort of... Yeah, when he was with that breathy as he's falling down, it's like you just going up, they're putting the board on, and so take one, and this take two, and all during it, David's running up and down and getting out of breath, and then they clap the board and they say action, then he stops and goes down and starts acting.
When we do the ADR, he's like running on the spot. What's he doing? And also, it just sounds right then, because you're out of breath and things like that. Because Alice was pregnant when she was doing this.
She was. When Alice Troughton, who's who directed this, when she going to have the baby?
Oh, very soon, I think.
Hey. Another Doctor Who fan?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Get in
there. But, this is...
back to the pool.
Oh, we love the pool. Oh, go.
with he who shall remain nameless in the jacuzzi at this point.
Oh, was he? It was him, was it?
He was, yeah. Oh.
There you go.
You got to get everywhere. You got in the pool. And
the pool is quite noisy here, but the performances are so good.
Yeah.
On Rap, I think he was on his way to the gym then, I think.
Yeah. But a wonderful episode. I mean, technically, though, I think it was probably the most difficult one for sound that we've ever had, haven't we, so far? And we've had some difficult ones, but, you know, all who's are difficult.
Well, all of them are difficult. Good grief.
You know. It's not one scene, I think, we've gone, that's nice and easy. You know, it's always creaky sets or wind machines, snow machines.
There's everything. There's always a day that you think is going to be nice and simple, that it turns round and kicks you in the rear.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Hooray!
Oh, that was great.
We loved that.
What did you rate to it, Bryn?
I enjoyed it very much, except for the
voices in the head from you two.
Well, guys, I hope all the faithful viewers liked that one. One of our
hope you did.
Yeah. That is my favourite episode.
It's mine too. It's mine too, definitely.
And maybe Mr. Moffat can write something similar.
Keep us in work.
Yes, keep us in work. Please.
Yeah. We are available for hire.
Yes, very reasonable rates, Mr. Collison. And it's lovely to see Billy in that for a brief second as well, isn't it?
This is back.
Yeah.
Well, we're nearing the end now, aren't we? How many more episodes to go?
Oh, well, we're dubbing episode 12 next week, everyone.
So this is 10, and we've got 11, 12...
Turn left next, and then 12.
And then 13. Is 13 to go? Wow.
Anyway, bye all!
Bye!